Hello, this is Lesley Ann Robinson from Knit Graffiti Designs, and today I'm going to show you how to knit two-color double brioche flat, which creates this gorgeous reversible double-sided fabric, which is similar to traditional two-color brioche, but instead of having just one single brioche knit or brioche purl stitch, you actually have two in a row. So it creates this thick ribbing that is an amazing fabric. So, well, let's take a look at it on the fabric together before I actually work it. So you can see here, you're going to be working 2 stitches at a time. So here's going to be the slip 2 yarn over, and then here's the bark 2. But if you'll notice, there's actually only 1 yarn over going over the 2 stitches together. So I'm going to start working. I'm going to first show you an English style. So I'm going to just knit my first salvage stitch. And now we're going to come to the slip 2 yarn over. So I'm going to bring my yarn in front of my work. I'm going to slip these 2 stitches separately purlwise. And then you can bring your working yarn to the back, ready for the next bark, or you can just, if you're me, just leave it in front. And then once you work these next 2 stitches, it will automatically create that shawl, that little shawl or wrap around your stitches. So now I'm going to work these 2 stitches separately. So I'm going to work the first bark stitch and see how my yarn went over those 2 stitches. And I'm going to just slip this first stitch off of my left hand needle, but you want to keep the yarn over on the next stitch. So now I'm going to bark the next stitch and it's yarn over together, and then slide them both off the needle. So I've worked those 2 stitches separately, but I've only worked the yarn over with both of them. So you can see it in the back of the work right there. And then you can see these previous stitches that were slipped, they have 1 yarn over going over them. So I'll work that again, bring my yarn forward, slip 2 stitches separately purlwise. I'm going to bark 1, leave the yarn over around that stitch, and I'm going to bark 1 again. And that's it. Now I'll show you continental style. So you want to bring your working yarn in front, slip 2 stitches separately purlwise, bring your working yarn to the back, bark 1, just slipping that first stitch off, leaving the yarn over around that second stitch, and then bark 1 again. I'll show you one more time. Working yarn in front, slip 2 stitches separately purlwise, working yarn to the back, bark 1, leaving the yarn over that stitch, bark 1 again. And when we come back, I'll show you how to work the same row with your contrast color. All right, so I just worked through this row, which was on the main side of the fabric with my main color yarn. I'm using Yoth Yarns Big Sister DK. This is the colorway Mint, and this is the colorway Caviar. I'll put that in the notes too in case you want to remember that. So I just worked through with my main color. So my main color is hanging out over on this side, and I've slid my work back to the other end of the needle. So we're continuing on now with the contrast color, and it's hanging out in front waiting for me. So I'll show you first an English style. So to work the salvage, I'm going to just slip the first stitch purlwise. And so now here I have the stitches that were slipped previously, So I'm going to burp these 2 stitches, and it's going to be similar where I want to keep this yarn over around both stitches. So I'm going to burp or brioche purl the first, sorry about that. I'm going to brioche purl the first stitch. I'm going to slide this stitch off of my left hand needle, but leaving the yarn over around the second stitch. I'm going to burp that stitch with its yarn over. So now my working yarn is in the front, and here are the next 2 stitches, which are going to be the slip 2 yarn over. So I'm going to slip the 2 stitches separately purlwise. I'm going to bring my working yarn back around the needle to the front, creating that wrap around the 2 slipped stitches. And now I'm going to burp again. 1 stitch, leave the yarn over, burp the second stitch. Now I'll work it again continental. So your working yarn is in the front. Slip 1, slip 2, wrap the yarn around, bring it back to the front. And you want to burp 1, slide the first stitch off, leaving the yarn over, and burp 1 again. And you'll just continue this way until your work is the size you want it to be. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask in the comments below, and thank you so much for watching.